Hey YouTube, Kier Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Cyber Angel Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for post the October 2022 ban list. We finally got Benton back at 3, so this means a big change for the Cyber Angel deck, just giving it more consistency since Benton was a pretty good searcher for the deck overall. It was definitely used in other decks a lot more, and that was the reason it got put on the ban list to begin with, but now we have it back at 3, so like I said, I figured an update was due for the deck. Definitely happy with the results of this, and with some of the other reprints for the Mega Tin for this year, we got some other needed cards that really do help to make the consistency of the deck go up. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Cyber Angel monsters, we are running 3 copies of Cyber Angel Benton. You can ritual summon this card with Machine Angel Ritual. If it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original defense in the graveyard. And if this card is tributed, you can add 1 Light Fairy monster from your deck to your hand. So the Light Fairy monster search is the important part of Benton, just being able to use this multiple times since it's a non-once per turn effect. It gives you search for a good majority of the cards that we run in the deck all together. So this is definitely your go-to 3 of in the deck. Just for the search you can use to get your other ritual monsters. I also run 2 Cyber Angel Idaten. You can ritual summon this card with Machine Angel Ritual. If it's ritual summon, you can add 1 ritual spell from your deck or graveyard to your hand. If it's tributed, you can make all ritual monsters you control gain 1000 attack and defense. So being a booster for some potential ritual monsters you may already have on the field. Being a pretty good searcher for the spell as well, since we want to get our main go-to spell in our hand as quickly as we can also. And for the other ritual monsters, just running 1 of, so 1 copy of Cyber Angel Izana, being more of a boss monster in the deck, and also just being able to have added backup with cards like Cyber Angel Dakini and also Cyber Angel Natasha. Like I said, 1 ofs for each of these, because with Benton at 3 being more consistent for the search, you could just be able to search any of these Light Fairy monsters from your deck to your hand for you to be able to use later on. For some of the other Cyber Angel support, I also run 2 Cyber Petite Angel. If it's summoned, you can add 1 Cyber Angel monster or Machine Angel Ritual from your deck to your hand. You only use this effect once per turn, so whether you need the monster or the spell, this card's just good for that because when it's just summoned, you get that search. And I also run 2 copies of Cyber Egg Angel. When it's summoned, you can add 1 Machine Angel spell or 1 Ritual Sanctuary from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Cyber Egg Angel once per turn. So Ritual Sanctuary is your field spell that can help with some of the special summon and recycle power in the deck. So having another searcher gives you access with the ritual monsters and spells thanks to Cyber Petite Angel, and then just basically any of the other searches you need for the basic Cyber Angel search with your Cyber Egg Angel. For the new cards from the Mega Tin, I'm also running 3 copies of Diviner of the Herald. Like I said, this was a pretty pricey card for a good while, but like I said, it was reprinted in the Mega Tin, so making it a lot more affordable for people to use in decks, including this one. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send 1 fairy monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, increase this card's level by the level of that monster till the end of this turn. If this card is tributed, you can special summon 1 level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck, except for Diviner of Herald. You can only use each effect of Diviner of Herald once per turn. So a fairy level 2 monster gives you search off of both of your Cyber Petite Angel and Cyber Egg Angel, since once they're just summoned, you get their searches. So if you open up Diviner of Herald, you have the send, which you can either send, cards like Herald of the Arclight to gain a search to the graveyard, or if you need a destruction play, Elder Entity to the graveyard with this card. It's a definite 3 of. This is just a great opener to start off any combo for this deck in your hand. And for more of the ritual setup, I am running the Incantation engine. So 2 copies of Incantation Talismandra and 2 copies of Incantation Candle, being more of the searchers for the monsters and spells with these 2 cards from the deck to the hand. And then 1 copy of Incantation Bookstone and 1 copy of Incantation Pencil Plume for the graveyard recycle. That's why I'm only running 1 copies of each of these, since you have to have them set up in the graveyard to begin with these cards. And then for the last of the monsters in the main deck, if you want to put a hand trap in this spot, you could put Ash Blossom or Effect Veiler. I have 3 Manju of the 10,000 Hands just for another opening search. So you either have this or your Diviner of Herald for a good chance to have something to start off with a good normal summon in the deck. And this being able to search out a ritual monster or ritual spell can then just add one of the more important cards to your hand to begin the tribute search. And that is it for the main deck monsters. Moving on now to the spells. I run 3 copies of Machine Angel Ritual. It can be used to ritual summon any Cyber Angel ritual monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster you ritual summon. And if a light monster you control will be destroyed by battle or card effect while it's in your graveyard, you can banish this card instead. So being more of a protection card, you have the play set up with cards like Diviner of Herald, being able to send Herald the Arclight or your Elder Entity, because then it will make this a level 6, and you have your complete tribute for this card on the field. So very, very useful for the play setup there. And I also run 1 Machine Angel Absolute Ritual. It's not as consistent as Machine Angel Ritual, but do still like to run 1 copy of this card in the deck. It can be used to ritual summon any Cyber Angel ritual monster. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field, and or shuffle Farrier Warrior monsters from your graveyard into the deck, whose levels equal exactly the level of the ritual monster you want to ritual summon. So recycle power, like I said, with your graveyard. If they're just sitting in the graveyard with no really a way to add them back, you can search this card off of one of your other monster searchers and then put them back in the deck for you then just to research again. I also run 3 copies of Ritual Sanctuary. You can discard 1 spell card to add 1 light ritual monster or ritual spell card from your deck to your hand, and you can shuffle any number of spell cards from your graveyard into the deck and then target 1 light fairy monster in your graveyard whose total levels equal the number of cards you shuffled into the deck. So this could be a way to get back monsters, and with the light fairy option in the graveyard, you can then just special summon out your Diviner Herald, being a level 2 monster, just needing 2 spells to shuffle back to special summon it onto the field. And for some of the one-ofs for the Machine Angel cards, I run 1 Magnificent Machine Angel, a quick play spell, to tribute a Cyber Angel ritual from your hand or field, and target 1 light fairy monster you control, and have it gain attack. It's good for the attack boost, but it's mostly here just as an added tribute option for your ritual monsters in your hand to gain additional searches. And 1 Incarnated Machine Ritual Angel. Your Cyber Angel ritual monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. When you take damage by battle or opponent's card effect, you can tribute 1 Cyber Angel ritual monster from your hand or field to special summon 1 Cyber Angel Ritual from your hand. It is treated as a ritual summon. And 1 Merciful Machine Angel for more of a draw power by tributing once again. They're all in here just for the tribute option. In addition to the ritual plays, you can just use these to have the additional search and draw power while still being able to get the tribute plays of your Machine Angel cards and your Cyber Angel monsters. For more additional searches for the spells, I also run 3 Preparation of Rites, so you can add a level 7 or lower ritual monster from your deck to your hand, and then if a spell is in your graveyard, add it back to your hand also, which is great off of the discard cost for cards like Ritual Sanctuary, just being able to add the spell that you discarded back to your hand thanks to this card, without even having to have done a ritual play to begin with. And then for the rest of the spells in the main deck, just 1 Terraforming for the Ritual Sanctuary search, 1 Call by the Grave for stopping our opponent's hand traps from trying to stop our searches, and 1 Monster Reborn for the fact that you have plenty of other targets in the deck just to get a summon and then a search to your hand with it. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run 3 copies of Herald of the Arclight with the 3 Diviner of Herald. If you're not going for the destruction play of your opponent, you'll at least want to have a send option for all 3 of the Diviner of Heralds that we run in the deck to at least get a search for a ritual monster or ritual spell from your deck to your hand with this card. And for the other synchros, since you do increase the level of your tuner, I run 1 Baron de Fleur and 1 Borreload Savage Dragon, because we do run Link monsters as well, as a way to equip onto it and have 2 monster negations as well. Along with the Herald of the Arclights, I am running 2 Elder Entity as well, just for the destruction play against your opponent if you go second. Being able to send it off of Diviner of Herald gives you a pretty strong play to use, just being able to pop a card on their side of the field and still increasing the Diviner of Herald's level by 4 thanks to this card, which with this or Herald of the Arclight gives you a level 6 monster to tribute out 4 cards like Cyber Angel Udatin or Cyber Angel Benton. And for the Link monsters, I run 1 Herald of Mirage Lights for the negation, just needing 2 monsters of the same type in a tribute, except for tokens. 1 Salmon Almirage, if you have any of our Cyber, Egg, or Petite Angel, you can then summon them and then link into Almirage. Hippo Shenangan for the light attributes. 1 Lena the Light Charmer for taking our opponent's light monsters in their graveyard to use for our own. 1 Nightmare Phoenix, and also 1 Barricade Board Blocker to finish off the Link 2s, Barricade Board Blocker especially, with the 1 of Continuous Spell we run and the Field Spell Recycle. And lastly for the Links, 1 Nightmare Unicorn and 1 Boral Sword Dragon for just additional options for the extra deck to go on the offensive against your opponent. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, like I said, with the new Diviner of Herald, just being able to summon this card and then gain the additional search, because you send cards like Herald of the Arclight, can then give you your search for your needed play, just being able to add the ritual spell from your deck to your hand, or the ritual monsters. If you add Benton to your hand and then have the Diviner Herald gain the levels of Herald of the Arclight, making it level 6, as long as you have the way to get your spell to your hand, which with plenty of searchers, whether it be the Ritual Sanctuary or just starting off with the ritual spell in your hand, you can then activate the Machine Angel Ritual, tripping out the Diviner of Herald to summon out your Cyber Angel Benton. And then with that, you can activate the Diviner of Herald. Since it was tributed, you can special summon one level 2 or lower fairy monster from your hand or deck. With that, you can then go for the additional special summon, summoning out your Cyber Petite Angel. And at summon, you can add one Cyber Angel monster or Machine Angel Ritual from your deck to your hand. So then you have the additional search with this card to add whatever particular Cyber Angel you may need. And then you either have the play to go from the extra deck using your 2 monsters, or you can continue the ritual search if you have additional cards in your hand. It all comes down to what you open up and the fact that you went with 1 summon off of the Diviner of Herald. Having the additional cards in your hand will all come down to what you may want to go for with your next play, because if you have an additional ritual search, you can use that additional ritual spell, or even if you were to add it back to your hand or recycle it back to gain another summon with cards like Ritual Sanctuary, is what the deck is meant to do, tributing out the additional Cyber Angel monsters for the additional search and setup. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Like I said, I always love updating the Cyber Angel deck, and with Benton now at 3 again, it just makes for more consistency to see this monster more often than not. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.